Okay, I am live right now. I'm just going to edit the title of this video shortly. Hold on a second. Just decided to spontaneously get on this live stream. Let's see, let me refresh this. All right. Hi, everybody. The title of this video is Spiritual Businesswoman. Now is your time. So I just wanted to pop on here very quickly. I don't even have any notes written down, but I just I've just been feeling this lately, I guess probably with recent world events going on right now, and then just me being in spaces that are primarily spiritual women in whatever way that they um, have decided what their spirituality is, whether that be some form of religion or mixed with metaphysics. I myself am a Catholic astrologer. I also do a bit of numerology, and I'm really interested in so many other types of modalities in helping us really understand who we are, um, figure out our identities, especially in this world, in this lifetime where we get so far into our own adulthood and we don't know who we are. We don't know how to really explore that. And it can be kind of scary because we've been conditioned because of what our parents thought were right, what society expected of us. And so we've been following the rules, but, how do we? But we realize that getting to those rules haven't really, or following those rules haven't really gotten us to where we claim we want to be. And it's not that they were wrong, but there was just so much more to it. We really abandoned our individuality to get some type of worldly or earthly gain. But we feel that now. We feel that our spirituality um, needs to be brought front and center. And we see so much of that void in society too. And so I haven't been following like with extreme detail about, recent events, politically speaking or anything like that, but I have checked in on it quite a bit, just kind of getting the basically the vibe of what people are saying, what they're feeling, not necessarily that they may be right in their assessments of what's going on, but just how people are feeling overall. What is this making them feel like? And um, I really have to admit that what I feel is most important and what's really needed is the spiritual business woman. My mentor and who mentors a lot of women, her and her husband actually they also mentor couples too, and so this is a big theme that she really talks about, and I really agree with also. And what one thing that she always says is that big ideas they are expensive. It costs money to really make a lot of change. So there's lots of discussions that I see online where it's like, um, in order to really change the system or to right wrongs or to pivot things that may be off, or that we don't feel is right or moral, or it would just need some sort of update or change. In order to do that, money is needed. So we need to get rich. Just make sure that we are utilizing our gifts and our skills, not that we're losing ourselves to make money, but that we are embodied in what we do and have that uh, help people and help us at the same time, where it's mutually beneficial, where we're not leaving parts of ourselves behind unless we want to grow from that. And then I see the other side of the conversation where there's people saying, we need to end this capitalism stuff. Capitalism is, we it needs to be destroyed. But I honestly don't see how not having resources is going to work in such a spiritual fight of some kind. It can only really get you so far, and you really have to be aware of what the battle is, what you're actually fighting, and what actually powers it. Maybe I won't get into too much detail about like what exactly I mean. If you have questions, you can definitely chime in. What are you guys feeling right now about what's going on, and what's going on in the world, and what you feel like is missing, and what you can do to perhaps step in? And so in my opinion, the best thing to really do is to really be embodied in our identities, know what our purpose is, know what gifts that we were brought into this world with, what our spiritual weapons are per se. There's one spiritualist that I kind of like listening to her. She can kind of be a little out there sometimes, but she really got me into astrology. And what she is saying is that, these are your spiritual gifts, your arsenal that you come here with, that the world really needs. We all have our own algorithm, I like to say. And the better we know that, the more we are aware of what we're geared with, what our specialties are, the easier it is on our psyche, on our nervous system, and the better we can solve the problems that we see existing right now. So, we're all collectively feeling what's going on. Our eyes are opening. Even the things that we perhaps used to defend, perhaps are, it's indefensible now. And I feel like we're really called, at least for what I have been feeling, is the need to really be seen and step up and really um, be called to show up as really servants of this repositioning, this redirection, this re-steering of what's going on. And I feel like the worst thing to be is to be someone who doesn't know their identity. And when you know your identity, you're not as quick to rage. Um, you know your purpose. You're pretty rock solid in it. Not saying that you can't be triggered with certain things, or that's nothing can throw you off, because uh, that I'll never say that. There's a lot to still overcome, a lot to think about. But when you know your purpose, when you know that you are this and that, and not necessarily that or this or that, you are able to really show up better. You can help more than just the individual. You can help the masses at that point. And I really think now is the time for the spiritual businesswoman, not just the businesswoman. What we know is the world operates on business. I live in the US. The US operates on business. And so that is the leverage that I feel like spiritual people should really have. And same for business people, have spirituality be their leverage. And I think now is the time for them to really merge on a global level, or at least within us as individuals. It's not that you are a spiritual person, but then you can't have a business, or that if your business, you're cutthroat and you can't be spiritual to it. That this is the time for us to really merge that. And whoever we need to help and however we need to help, we do that spiritually and by business. Um, I cannot remember them all. Oops, I'm a bad student, but I remember when I was taking an entrepreneurship course at my alma mater, which is a Catholic university. Um, the entrepreneurship course, as a postgrad, I took that after I graduated from both degrees, I think. And yeah, and the professor on the first day of classes had us go through the seven important steps of the Catholic Church, seven tenets or something of the church. And he wanted us to go over that because um, that was the foundation of really understanding business. How do you treat your clients? How do you treat your customers? Not exploiting people, really being of service. What does that really mean? And although I don't remember every single step, I just remember human dignity, the dignity of the human person. And that's clearly really big in the Catholic Church, and it's big, um, with other religions and faiths also. But uh, when you're called to serve, I think that that is a big thing to remember. What's the human dignity? Not forgetting about the dignity of the human person. So I feel like now is a time where we are ending, that cutthroat level of business. I just feel like that's just not how things are. I feel like if you really want to be called to really make a lot of changes, it's important to really feel into your feelings, really be an intuitive business owner. What is the underlying emotional problems, the emotional disconnect that's creating a lot of the business problems? What problems do you see that are actually really spiritual problems and not systems problems or not budget problems? They're something else underneath, and it's showing up as a lack of leadership or a lack of structure or a lack of direction of some kind. And that's what spirituality all is. And oh yeah, and by the way, I forgot to mention, definitely check out tonight. It's going into Tuesday morning, but overnight before sunrise, definitely check out the lunar eclipse in Virgo. I'm going to post the link here to my last video or my latest video that I just uploaded uh, about this lunar eclipse. And so, yes, we are in eclipse season. Eclipse season brings a lot of energy, a lot of leadership concerns, as we see. A lot of older cultures used to hide their kings and their leaders because eclipse season um, is known to be something that kind of obscures or is a threat to leadership in some ways. And so uh, I'm not one to, I'm not a type of astrologer who really assesses like world leaders. That's not the type of astrologer I am, but that is a thing and a discussion is going on now about the astrology behind a lot of these world leaders and death and the astrology of all this, the eclipse season. But one thing that I did mention in that video is for existing business owners, this may be, or even those that are aspiring, this may be a time to, note that you you may feel a little cloudy about communication now, about direction in your business, about finances in your business, and to really get certain about needing help or assistance in your business, hiring consultants, hiring advisors, financially or communication wise, or for your business to not really get to, don't be, dismissive of whatever needs that your business may have right now. Also, if there's any type of need for, uh, if there's a perhaps a particular type of partnership that you might be working on, maybe hold back and make sure that you're clear-headed enough to really go forward with that partnership or collaboration of some kind, as this is kind of a cloudy time right now. And really just assess what is truly needed if you are making decisions in the healthiest way for your business. So I left a link there in the chat, that is. So it's really now is the time for the spiritual businesswoman. It's not just about making the money, although I believe that money is spiritual. I know one business consultant says that money is spiritual because it's the only thing, at least that he could think of, or perhaps that I can think of, that that can exist in multiple forms and in multiple places. So there's a bank account, there's a credit card, there's a debit card, there's a check, there's cash. Like it can exist in multiple forms in different ways. So it is spiritual and it is infinite also. So now is not the time to shrink yourself down into um you can't do something or you can't serve someone. Like there's a lot of healing needed nowadays, and being able to bridge that gap is extremely important. Um, and so I'm not understanding why. I mean, I guess we all have our own blocks and the things that kind of hold us back, but there is nothing wrong with making money. There's nothing wrong with getting paid for your skills. There's nothing wrong with that. And so I don't think rejecting getting paid is necessarily a good thing. That it feels really good. I will be the one to tell you that it feels really good when people um, pay my business to get a particular outcome for more insight into something. And I love doing that for them. I just met with a client earlier, a first time client, and she was great, who wanted to know what was next for her about what business should she start. She's an educated woman, she's smart, she right off the bat, like I saw as I was assessing, as I was creating her report, like this is a leader. This is a woman who um, is really needed in repositioning a lot of these old Saturnian um, structures and systems. And by Saturnian structures and systems, I mean higher education, government, banking and finance, um, any of these old systems that run really slowly, that had been dependable in some way for most of our lives, for our parents' lives. Um, but we're seeing things crack. Politics, that's another one. And so, but it's not that money needs to go away or education needs to go away, certainly not, or politics necessarily needs to go away, but there is some shift that needs to happen with really meeting the need for us. And if we decide to have children and their children and children's children, everybody's children, grandchildren and everything. So what's next? So it's us to really build. It's for us to really build what's next. And so we all have these spiritual gifts that we were born with to make those changes. For me, when I was in grad school, like I was studying business because yeah, I was studying business and data science. And I studied business. What the main driver for me studying business was my parents had lost everything. Our family lost everything in 2008 in that crash. And so that wasn't our first time that my family had experienced tremendous loss, economically speaking, because of some external system that we were then at mercy of. And so by the time I was older, I was what? I was in college at that point. So I was an undergrad at that point. So that was really rough. And then having to kind of, act as if that was not going on. Um, so he had gotten furloughed, my dad had gotten furloughed from his job. And so that threw us all off, although I was an adult at that time, but I was still dependent on my family. And one thing I realized that go round as I was older, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, we're on the bottom rung, but there are clearly people who are here that are winning. This economic shift, this economic crash or whatever, there are still people who are winning. There are people that lost some things, but they were able to get it right back. People kind of don't even remember that too much. I mean, everyone remembers it, but it's almost as if most people kind of got back to normal or were able to get themselves to a point where they're okay now. And eventually we just ended up, me and my sister, meaning that we just grew out of that and just had to go on our own. But what was the biggest driver for me learning business was that I needed to learn how so many people were still winning and not losing as much as we were. Not losing as much as we did. I'm like, I'm not going to suffer through this ever again in my life, and certainly not any children I may have. I'm going to learn and know. I'm going to find out what I don't know. And let me just make sure. It's just like, yeah, that's audible. I'm just making sure that I'm still audible here. So, and so I think it's important to not be ignorant of what is powering things, what is powering the system. I was just listening to some analysts, some geopolitical analysts that were talking about the financial industrial complex gives orders to the tech industrial complex, who then gives orders to the military industrial complex. So who drives policy now? Which I mean, it's always been financial, but it's not the military like how it was. It may look like it, but financially, the financial sector is, which is a national, is not necessarily American, but everything is global now. So not things are not simply restricted to borders like how they were before. So who is the one who's driving all of the change? And so at the top of everything is financial. So to not to already check out of saying that you don't want to play the financial game, like you're already losing. I don't know what other, as far as earthly is concerned, I don't know what other type of strategy would be better than understanding finances. Yes, this is a spiritual, I don't want to say battle, but yeah, a lot of that's what people say. Yes, this is a spiritual battle. This is a spiritual thing, but the tangible um thing that we are exchanging is money. Where is the money going? Who has the power? And in my opinion, you don't have any power to make some sort of shift or change until you have some money. You're not influential unless you have some money um, at your hands, at your fingertips. And that's is something that is really important to me and so many other women that I talk to, is that it's so important for women to be knowledgeable of business, to be a businesswoman. Whatever that may mean to you, not necessarily those who own businesses, although that's really what I mean and really what I promote, but any type of networking, any type of communicating, matching people together, making things happen. That's a businesswoman. The most obvious sense of that is owning her own business, but she can be an executive elsewhere too. Anywhere that where she is at an influential position to make some sort of change. And so the client that I just had earlier today, um, one thing that popped out when I was doing her report for what type of business should she own or run, as she was looking for that, moving out of or at least perhaps pivoting, considering pivoting out of 9 to 5 work or full-time employment and into a business. So um, was that she is one to be very front facing for these larger Saturnian structures. I got off track, but yeah, that's what I was meaning to get to, is that her way of making these pivot is to really help um, these structures, these organizations, these industries that are kind of at a weak point right now with what direction that they go in. Who do they serve? What's the communication going on? Um, like I said, business, politics, government, higher education, those things. And they really need a lot of clarity with procedures going into a new territory that they have never been in. How do they regain um, their status? Do they shrink? Do they grow? How do they communicate better? How can they do better outreach? She's the one who is spiritually fit for those type of of change for these organizations, these industries that serve the public. So we need spiritual women on every freaking level, every freaking level. I can't even explain it. Um, so for me, that's not necessarily uh, my direction. My direction, perhaps right now, is working more with one-on-one, with business owners directly, but not necessarily like these particular structures. I've got another set of, skills as far as what my spiritual gift is. And so it's really important to know, you know, spiritually what your gifts are. And I really believe that now is the time for such women to really shine in that way because we need that empathy. We need examples of women earning money from their spiritual gifts, and also their educational gifts, and being able to be both, to show up as both. We don't have to pick or choose either one because the world needs both. We both need to work both in the spirit realm as well as on this natural realm, earthly plane. We need to be able to be a channel between what's elevating people. What's our spirit telling us to do? What what spiritual goal do we have? Are we here to accomplish? And so for that, I want to definitely invite people that really resonate with this to my offer called the Goddess of Commerce Codex, which is the report that I was just talking about with that client that I just met with earlier. And really, if you don't know what your spiritual gifts are, or how do you communicate with who is your target audience? How do you communicate with them? What do you need to really overcome in order to be that spiritual businesswoman? What's your spiritual gifts? How do you show up? That way that, you're really stepping up in your own unique way of leading. What type of leader are you? You may be one who is not so front facing. You may do most of your work behind the scenes. You may be more of a leader or director behind the scenes. Hey Lola, good to see you. Thanks for joining the live stream. It was so good to meet you in January. It was really good. I knew it was you immediately, so it was really fun. So yeah, it's now is the time for the spiritual woman, and it's really time um to really own what our skills are. This is now the time for us to no longer be afraid or scared of what we may be feeling, about what's going on in the world. If you really feel not triggered by it, but moved by what's going on, it's because it's really necessary um, for you to perhaps help change and pivot what into the right direction that we need to go in now. So yeah, what your communication skills are, who your target demographic is, what your leadership skills like, what you need to overcome, what strong points do show up for you, what areas of life and areas that are strong for you that you can really bring in. Like with one client, her area of mysticism was extremely strong. So while she is working professionally, she also has a very spiritual direction that she is still taking these things. Yes, it was such a pleasure meeting you in person too. Yes, so hopefully it'll be more times that I'll get to see you in hopefully the near future. So I'm excited to experience more of those events and seeing you more and all the other ladies too. So yeah, it's now is the time for us to really stand in all of that, stand in whatever our education is, stand in our spiritual skills. And for women who don't know what that is, I want to invite you into the Goddess of Commerce Codex, which is a report. Oops, is that correct? I don't know if that is a correct link. Yeah, that should be right. Hope that that did not, yeah, that leads to right. I think I almost botched the link, but that seems to work. But this report lays out everything that what your natural skill set is, what your natural strengths are as far as spiritually. We're combining it with your education. You are a powerhouse in whatever way that you are born to be. And so this reveals to you what your business is supposed to be, how you are supposed to serve the world, how you get paid. That way, you are not sitting here thinking that you are an influencer, an Instagram influencer, when you're really like a high priestess, or you're really a boardroom executive, executive presence professional. That way you're not trying to chase the trends on this person got a couple dollars over here by doing this. I'm gonna try to do it too, and it doesn't work for you. Maybe you're supposed to build things up slowly. Maybe you can be a quick earner, or perhaps you're one who earns slowly but big money slowly. So you can be a quick earner with small money, or a big earner slowly, or maybe a crisscross of any of those. And what's the best ways for you to get started in whatever your business idea might be. So I give you a few different options by looking at your education, what you're good at, and what I see in the report as I look at your spiritual sciences. So also, I go through this with you one on one, so you're not by yourself. I do send you a PDF report. It's got all your data in there. Not all your data, but it's got enough data in there, enough information that's specific to you. And this report is not anything that also gets generated to other people. We all have our own combination of our strengths, what we're best at, how we communicate, who we communicate to, what do they need help with, how do you overcome your blocks to get to that point. All these things are very specific to the individual. So I also I give you the report, and I also walk, and that way the you can review it, and then we can also schedule a Zoom call one-on-one, where if you had any questions about any of these anything that I put in your report, in your unique report, uh, that you can ask me there. And I think that this is extremely important. This is a mix of both data science, as I am a data scientist, and I've created reports for higher education, administration. I've worked for deans and vice presidents and president also. Being a data scientist, being a data manager, being a functional analyst. And so all those were absolutely necessary, but it didn't really kick in for me until I got in good with my spiritual journey, until my spiritual journey really was what really took all this to the next level. So um it was I meant to do much more than those jobs, but those jobs definitely helped me gain clarity in how do I bring that structure to um, me being a spiritual coach also. One of the first coaching certifications that I got it in 2023, about 3 years ago. Yeah, I think it was in March, was a spiritual coaching certification. And so um, I couldn't just do all spirituality. I couldn't just do all analytics. And so I feel that they are the same. Predictive analytics is something that we see both in data science, and we also see it in the spiritual sciences too. We call that fortune telling, but the regular world calls it forecasting. So, but as we see, none of this is really any different. It's all really the same. Um, and so, yes, it's called the Goddess of Commerce Codex. So, if you are very serious about, even if you don't want to necessarily start your business now, this may be something that you're just thinking about doing, take it, sit on it for a bit, really read what it says. It's a long report. It's probably about, I would say it's been about 14 to 17 pages, depending on what client what comes up when I'm assessing each client. So it's well over 10 pages, about 15 pages on average. So this is you. It details you. It's not anything small that you can find anywhere else. This is something that I created, um, that I really feel like people truly need, especially the spiritual businesswoman. So definitely check out that link if this is something that you are um, really considering. Again, you don't have to start your business tomorrow, but it definitely gets the wheels turning as far as what you feel like you might be interested in. And of course, I talk with you about it, and you can ask any questions. So, see, there's a few people watching. So, if any of you had any questions about anything, about this offer, or anything about the eclipse, or even just about business in general, what if you had any questions? I'm here for a few more minutes, and yeah, so it's really my goal and my purpose to really activate women and men too, but women are my main demographic. And of course, if a man is interested, he can absolutely purchase this Goddess of Commerce Codex. I'll just change the pronouns in his report. Um, but it's really important to me for women to really be activated. We know what it feels like. We know what it looks like when women and people in general, but women, we're going to say women, don't know who they are. We see when women and men, we see the damage that it causes when they don't know who they are, then they then teach their children to really deny their identities, and so much force and so much anger and needing to pull others in the direction that we feel is right, instead of really promoting the person to be their best selves and what they are here for, because we can't really say what God has in store for someone else. That's their own relationship with God that they have. That's God's choice on who God wants them to be. So my job, I feel, or my purpose is really to kind of assist that individual into just being the best version of themselves. And that's the same thing for all of us spiritual business women. We're really activating more people. Hi Lola. I do astrology. I don't do human design. I do astrology and Akashic numerology. So Western astrology. So maybe human design could be in the future for me, but I definitely suggest that people get all of them done. Get all their spiritual sciences uh read. I don't think that's I think all knowing all of it is as good as you can get, in my opinion. Hi Melanie. Hi, some people say Saturn in Aries is a bad time to initiate as an entrepreneur, and others say it will be more entrepreneurs. What is your opinion about that? Yeah, I've seen that too. I've seen both comments about bad time, good time. What I resonate with the most is that this is a time where those that put in the work, those that have the vision, those that have the grit, those who really understand what is required now, where we are right now, they are going to I hear it called staying power, like they're going to be in it. And I feel like it'll what this transit is doing is really just revealing who's authentic, who really has the skills to really stay in the game. It'll knock off those who weren't meant for it. So I think that those who really are driven in their passion, like I got an explosion of new clients at the beginning of this Saturn and Aries, and I really felt a lot different too with all of these, the numerology year one, the fire horse year, all of these transits, the eclipse. I feel like it really activated me more. So I feel like it'll probably knock off the entrepreneurs that aren't in it spiritually. You know, I feel like this is the time for the spiritual entrepreneur to win, and those who aren't authentic, they're going to. It's not really the time for them to really initiate, but this is for those who this is their life's work to win in it, and that's what I think. Do you read the Akashic records too? No, I don't do that, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, maybe that could be in the future too. But yeah, and again, I would advise those to also look into their Akashic records just for more understanding of their purpose and where they came from and where they're going. No, so I just do my main thing is mixing Western astrology, Akashic numerology, with my data science background and my business background. So uh not so much identity work with past lives or anything because I'm really focused on like are in making sure that the life that you're living right now, that you're really focused on what you need to be doing in this lifetime and not so much daydreaming too much or getting distracted too much about what you did in the past lifetime. And one thing I wanted to say, thank you for asking this, Lola, whoops, is that I think it's a good idea. Yeah, you're welcome. I think it's a good idea for those who are beginning in their spiritual journey to, I don't think it's a good idea to really do the Akashic records just yet because if you are trying to get clear about your identity, start small. Start with something that doesn't take you back into some other identity that you were. I think as you build up your um, spiritual strength, more of your identity in this lifetime, then I think it's a good time to, or if you really feel like you're hitting a block in some way after you've done a lot of work, then I feel like that's good to do Akashic records or something that will kind of go back out of who you are right now. And so I think that that's kind of a lot to do for someone who is new to spirituality, who just because it's a spirituality is a bottomless pit, and um, you really don't want to trigger, any emotions that you don't need to have just now. So as you build on, but I think Lola, you're probably really you probably know all of this by now, but for those that are really new to spirituality, I would say, get your astrology done, start with your numerology, or human design, yeah, is another good one too. What if someone was born a couple weeks late because their mother was overdue? Does that affect their sign? Yeah, it affects a lot. I think, yeah, because everything starts at your time of birth. So anything that came before it or even after that doesn't get included. So an estimation, if you don't know, is extremely important. Hi, Shannon. Good to see you. Thanks for joining the live stream, everybody. So yeah, because the spirit realm doesn't know what late is. It doesn't understand time like how we do. So, I would say that that person, if that's you or that's someone else, you were born at the right time according to the spirit realm. So, it may have been a couple weeks late on earth, but spiritually, that was the right time of birth. So yeah, and it affects a lot of different signs because you've got multiple different signs I'll just speak for astrology. You've got every planet has a sign, every angle has a different sign. So these things change as quickly as every 2.5 hours. So if it's a couple weeks, yeah, there's a lot that has changed in a couple weeks. So yeah, so the discussion today is really being that spiritual businesswoman that is necessary nowadays. Um, and so of course, not everyone is going to be is going to resonate with this. There's going to be some people who are not going to want to be so businessy or so spiritually, and that's okay. But I feel like this joining of both the spiritual and the business, now is our time. So we really need to know what we were born with, what our gifts are, because a wayward person is a problem. And of course, you will be recruited to help someone else's with their purpose, which may be okay. Maybe that's why we are here. There's a lot of people who are here to just simply observe. They're not here to really lead in this lifetime. And there are those who are clear leaders, and they are the ones who drive change forward. So it's important to, um, really know who you are, how you lead, how you communicate. Yeah, so if anybody's got any questions, I'll go ahead and maybe I'll pin this offer. Uh, let's see, how do I pin this offer again? Pin this to the comment or to the top of yeah, here we go, pin message. So what that is, that's the Goddess of Commerce Codex. That's probably one of my favorite offers. I mean, to be honest with you, I love helping everybody in the way that I can. But this really steps the woman into, first, my main core offer is the Wild Identity Blueprint, and that helps women really know their identity, family upbringing, all those things. I believe that that is in the description box. Yeah, the Wild Identity Blueprint, that's in the description box too. And um and that's great. I That clears up a lot of identity work. But this, the Goddess of Commerce Codex, takes you from basically monetizing your identity, monetizing your skill sets, monetizing your spiritual gifts, how to intertwine that, and who do you help? Um, and how can you help them? What your mission is. Are you here to help individually one by one? Are you here to do bigger groups of people? Are you here to lead organizations and industries? And so, we're never really alone. We're never really, uh, alone with who we are. And so I know I've spent a lot of years really fighting my upbringing as I, grew up Catholic, still am Catholic. I was married in the church and all that. My husband and I still go from time to time. We do go to mass. But as soon as you walk in, they are talking about sinner. You're sinning and all these things. And I'm like, okay, I'm ready to step into my purpose. But I won't go into like if that's right or wrong, still go to, church or anything like that. But I know that there is so much more to spirituality than just that. I'm here to really make some change. I'm here to really know who I am. And I'm here to help activate other people into that too. Um, so yeah, if anyone has any questions, just let me know. I know my husband's about to cook dinner soon, so I want to make sure that that I don't miss dinner. He likes to cook dinner a little early, but I didn't have lunch, so um, it's about time for dinner for sure. But yeah, if anyone had any questions about anything about again the eclipse, the Saturn in Aries, business, spiritual business. If not, then I will go ahead and See you guys in the next one. I'm really glad that you all resonated with this, and thank you for joining in the live stream. It's really fun. And yeah, so all right, you ladies, thanks so much for joining me today. I will see everyone the next time. I'm still trying to get used to scheduling these live streams. I don't know how to do that, but I will try to. Once I figure out how to schedule things, it'll be a lot better. Oh, you missed the beginning. Did you talk about the full moon eclipse? I didn't talk so much about it. I do have a video about that already, but I did talk about it a little bit in the context of business ownership about it this being and honestly this can be applied to anyone really, but this is a cloudy time. That's the video of that I just uploaded the other day. So the Mercury is in retrograde, yes. So definitely, make sure that you're communicating properly, crossing your T's, dotting your I's, really reading over contracts, communicating properly, and even perhaps hold back on doing any partnerships until you really gain more clarity. There's a lot of, yeah, fogginess, a lot of lack of clarity. A lot of planets are in Pisces right now. So, also really being honest with yourself about financially where you are. If you need to get a CPA, if you need a financial advisor, don't lie to yourself about whatever assistance as a business owner that you need or that your business may need. So that's my assessment of it. Just very, very quickly. I always look at it in a way where, how do you improve something? But overall, I would say until, after a bit after the eclipse, after Mercury retrograde is over, I don't remember exactly when it's over. That's probably when this fogginess, this lack of clarity um, period will kind of end. Definitely once we get out of Pisces season. Yes, you're welcome. Sometimes it's just those quick breakdowns that's really important. Honestly, I can't sit there and watch like hour-long astrology videos. It's kind of even a lot for me. I'm just like, what's that little bit of information that I need to propel me into that next thing? Um, but yeah, it's always a time to reflect, especially as leaders. Eclipse season is about leaders. And like I did say earlier, a lot of older cultures would hide their kings, they would hide their leaders away until eclipse season was over with because that meant like death or there was harm for those leaders. And so we can kind of see themes of that going on right now. And I know in the US, our current president was born on an eclipse. I think there's at least two other world leaders that are born on eclipses also. So they are this is their time. I'll say it. Not like as in like the end of their life, but they're activated now. I'll say that much. Hey Sydney, oh my gosh, my friend Sydney J is here. She was my Afro punk friend from like way back when I was like learning about me being a weirdo, me being me being an Afro punk and what that meant. And so that's my H-Town homie. Oh my gosh. It's so good to see you, girl. And she's so talented. She's a singer. She's got the best style. I can't pull off the things that she pulls off, but yes, I'm sending you love too. I thank you so much for joining the live stream. But basically, yes, just wrapping up the video. Um, this is the time for the spiritual businesswoman. It's- I, one reason why I stopped listening to a particular spiritualist, the one that I did mention earlier in the video, who really got me into astrology with knowing your spiritual arsenal. Um, one reason why I decided that, she wasn't so much for me is that she was still really struggling financially in some ways. And she's still very, very wise. But I think that we can't have spiritual leaders who kind of continue that pattern. Because if I want to grow my money, that's not the person that I should go to. And really, honestly, if I were to kind of just, if I were to give her advice, I would just say she needs to charge more and, also maybe change who she's marketing to. And so it's really important to understand business as a spiritual person because we can't, continue to not charge for the gifts that we have. Yes, definitely hit the like button. Thank you so much, Sydney. Yeah, we were so all. I love that. I love that phrase better than weirdo. But yeah, we've been friends for a long time. I don't even know how long that was. It was probably like, oh, 10, 15. Was it 15 years ago? It was definitely probably at least 10 years ago. I lose track of time for sure. But yeah, so I mean, if I want to grow my money, if I want to grow in my marriage, if I want to grow in these areas, like I want the person that I go to for spiritual guidance, I want them to have to tell me what do I need to do. And so she's great at what she does. She's amazing, but I feel like um she just may need to change who she markets to and how much she charges. It's a simple fix. Not like she has to change her spirituality or anything, but I just would I wish that she I wish that she did that because she's keeping herself at the level of the people that's watching her, that's tuning into her because she wants to be relatable, because she wants to be um she wants to keep spirituality accessible, but then she's kept herself at this, and she's talked about her finances. I'm only saying that because she's talked about her finances before. And honestly, Sydney, I think you may follow her too. But I won't say I'll message you on who I'm talking about. But she's great. She's really great. But I just think that there's nothing more powerful than a spiritual woman with money, where she knows business, she knows the spiritual realm, she knows her area of the spirit realm, deep, deep enough as if there's you can't go you can't there's no stopping point with the spirit realm, honestly. Probably 15 by now. Yeah, yeah, I'll send you a message. She's great. I'll say that she yells at her kids to come help with the tech. I'll say that. But she's amazing. You probably know who I'm talking about. Um, but yeah, and nothing is stronger than a woman who knows her spirituality in and out in a way where she can help herself and help her clients, as well as knowing business in and out, because you got to know both systems. It's not either or. And so I'm really wanting to make sure that people nowadays, yeah, I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought. I think that it's important to know both systems. You can't just be one or the other, and that's what I mentioned earlier about the Saturn and Aries, where it's going to kick out people that can't hang on, because this is a spiritual thing that we're doing. Money is spiritual, business is spiritual, everything starts on it spiritually. And when you bypass that, um, there's a lot of evil that happens, there's a lot of fraudulent things that happen, there's a lot of uh, you know, people being taken advantage of, and it's having spiritual strength is super important. Oh yeah, exactly. I think so too. Uh, definitely need to be proficient in whatever you profess to know. Okay. Well, yeah, so definitely, so if anyone is interested in really building up how to be a spiritual business person, definitely check out the Goddess of Commerce Codex. Um, so yeah, if you guys didn't have any more questions, and when you hear that there is a delay on Zoom when you are doing YouTube live stream, yes, there is a humongous delay. I can tell when other people do Zoom live streams, but on my end, I'm like, whoa, I see the gap in it. Yeah, I definitely understand that too. And that's the thing. That's the lacking of the business part, where people can then take advantage of you when you are a little too spiritual. Yeah, the days are going to being spiritual and broke. Yeah, and it's really hard to see because she has a good heart. Um, she's got amazing spiritual skills. Um, but I'm like, ma'am, you can't be saying the same things year after year. I want like not that I've necessarily surpassed her. I don't really know what metric that would be, but it's just like I want you to be able to grow. And so um my big thing is, are the people that I'm seeking out spiritual advice from, or whatever advice, financial advice, family advice, relationship advice, how ahead of me are they? Are they continuing to grow? What have they overcome? And I don't want to go and listen to anyone who might be stagnant in those areas. Yes, it's being spiritual and broke, that's just not cool. So it actually doesn't make sense to be spiritual and broken. I think she maybe mishandles her funds. Yeah, and perhaps so. Perhaps so. And it is sad. And I don't want anyone to be like that. I don't want anybody here to be like that. And so, although, yeah, I have an MBA, it doesn't necessarily mean anything. You don't need that degree or a degree, but you need to be business savvy. And I'll just say it, being in a capitalist system, you there are its benefits that spiritual people can benefit from. It's not all, I mean, that's the thing. If you feel like a capitalist system is a bad system to be part of, then make the money that the capitalist system can afford you and then change it because you've got that influence. You've got the influence, the pull, the power to be able to make that shift. But you can't do that um, if you keep yourself at a level where you're not going to grow. And one thing I wanted to also say, there is a point there's a section in the Goddess of Commerce Codex report where I break down how you make money. What's your way of making money? How long term, how quick, um, what type of content you should create. And by content, I mean, are you going to write a book? Are you an influencer on Instagram? Or are you someone who licenses their like recordings to businesses? Like, you can license your knowledge to an insurance company. You can license your knowledge to a business school or to HR programs. So that's all types of content. So whenever you hear the word content creator, it's not necessarily bad. Everyone's like, not everyone can be a content creator. What do you mean by content? Content could mean blogs. It could mean YouTube videos. It could mean videos that a hospital organization would use as far as how to insert you know a needle for like for treatment. That's what I mean. All these different ways that you can make money. So I would say don't listen to anyone who is trying to pull you away from monetizing what your gifts are. That, to me, that's an enemy. I literally blocked someone on social media recently. They didn't comment to me. I was just reading what they were saying, but there was this whole movement of just being, and it was anti-capitalist, but there was no strategy that they had as far as how to beat the system, or how to or making money off of your gifts. And that should not that's why God put gave us these gifts. I did have someone in that was in my life. I mean, maybe I haven't we didn't have a falling out. I just kind of paused the friendship, where she was really upset as to how I was making money. She was a former coworker, and she did attend me and my husband's Catholic wedding. So this lady was extremely Catholic, but she thought that me using astrology was not good. And so she sent me this very long um, Word document in my email, but she didn't have a conversation with me. She didn't propose a phone call or a Zoom call or a meetup of any kind. And I just thought that, I just had to kind of put that friendship on pause right now. Uh, and it was, the thing is that I had gotten laid off from my job back in September, but I already had this business. So I just instantly pivoted. And thankfully, I have a provider husband who uh, was paying the bill or is paying the bills, but yeah, was paying them also back then. So I didn't have to worry about, rent or housing or food or anything. So I was able to, and that was the whole plan, was to build the business. And I was going to quit my job eventually. But with the layoff, it just speeded it up quicker. So the plan was to already have that in place. And that's why I think it's really great for those who are still working full-time jobs. Don't quit your full-time job if you don't feel that it's the time to do so. Um, but start building your spiritual business on the side. And so, yeah, so she was very upset about how I was making money. But I'm like, but I'm thinking to myself, I'm okay with her not understanding that because I know what God has told me what I'm supposed to do. This is what I'm supposed to do. And so I'm not going to deny myself to make her or anyone else happy because it's what they understand. And the crazy thing is that she's told me that she wants to start a business, but she's not sure what it should be. So this offer would be perfect for her. All right, let me read what you guys are saying. Yeah, I need any leader I gauge to walk the walk and talk the talk. Exactly. I mean, and that's who we should also be. We should also be leaders that walk the walk and talk the talk. So if we don't learn from those who do that, then we're not going to be that way either for the next person who's looking for someone else to look up to. Yes, or more to places that match how you want to live, i.e., move somewhere cheaper, go off the grid if you don't like capitalism. Yeah, exactly. Like you've got to have some sort of strategy and understand that not everybody is going to have that same understanding as you. So I mean, I know it's online, but there are real people online. So it is a real place in a sense. But it's at least got real people online. But this need for everybody to have that same outlook, you know, those people who want to go off the grid, have them go off grid. It's totally fine if you don't like capitalism. Those that want to gain from capitalism and then change it for their benefit, okay, go and do that. But we've all got different purposes. We've all got different, reasons of being here. So I think it's really important to mutually understand that there are other people who have different purposes and don't have them go off live in a camper in the middle of Arizona if that's not what they're meant to do. That's what you're meant to do. So go find that community. So that's why I love this offer because it tells you about who you are and about finding your community. And it's not about convincing other people to also have that outlook. Our people need to learn product selling for sure and move past just wanting views. Yes, because the major thing that I see going on now that business people are finally saying, because things in business changes so fast, that views and subscribers do not convert to sales. And I would even say those like me who went to business school, we sales and negotiation were not, at least in my business program at that time, those were not courses that were automatically taught in the core of courses of that program. Those were electives, if they were even offered at the semester that we needed. So, uh, and one thing that I'm learning, I'm not going to speak a lot on it because I'm still learning it, but the way that we learned in marketing how to sell was like to demographics, to income brackets, to, um, you know, um, location, zip code, male, female, age range, all these things, but there's a whole, what I'm learning now, so as I've had my business, that there's a consciousness level of people that you really want to be able to understand who you sell to. So, and that's listed in your chart also from what I've created, the analytics that I've created. This tells you the mindset of the people that would most benefit from your business skills as well as your spiritual skills. So you don't want to be forcing people into spirituality, into your version of spirituality if that's not meant for them. They need to go elsewhere, and you should market to other people. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much it. There's so much to it, and we're not going to know everything all right now. Like, this is a lifelong process, but we teach and as we grow, as we go along. Oh my gosh, it's 5:30 now. I didn't even realize. And I kept going for almost 30 minutes. But yeah, so this was okay. I was thinking that the live streams that I was going to do was like earlier in the daytime, but I feel like maybe later afternoon, early evening may be better. So, yeah, maybe that's better to make sure everybody, has time after their job. Hey, Christy. Oh, I'm so glad that you're enjoying it. Christy is a great spiritual accountant. So, I mean, we've got, let's see, let me go up. Uh, let's see, I can't lost. Oh, Melanie, she's another great astrologer here. So we've got our spiritual women, Lola. She's part of the spiritual community. So is Shannon. So y'all know the understanding of spirituality. So yeah, so now is our time. We can't be acting like we aren't good at the other one. This is full integration right now. Yes, Christy, you are great. So, yes, you've got a YouTube channel, and I got a video saved on there, on my on my watch later, that where she goes into some detail about S corps, I think, and I haven't watched it yet, but that one is important because I'm like, oh yeah, what's an S corp? Do I need to change my business to that? So, you know, one thing I remember my college roommate told me, who she ended up being my maid of honor in my wedding, so we're still really good friends. And she told me, Kristen, I can take you around any group of people, and you communicate with them well. You'll get along with any and everybody. I'm like, thank you. And so I didn't really think much of it because I'm like, yeah, I see everyone. I see the janitor the same as the CEO. I can strike up conversations with any and everybody. And I feel like that is the integrated need for today. Have that spiritual uh you know um vocabulary, have that business vocabulary. It's time for us to be good at both, and we can. There's no reason why we can't. Those are blocks that we can definitely overcome, and that's also in the report too. How what do we need to overcome to really be the best business owner, the best spiritualist that we can be? So as of right now, I the price is what it is. You see that in the on the link. I'll go ahead and link it again. I know it's pinned up there, but I'll go ahead and link it. Why does it keep doing that? I feel like I keep messing up the link. Hopefully it's right on the top. Yeah, I think it is. And I'm fearless about it. Oh, thank you, Sydney. Thank you so much about that. And yeah, because I mean, if it's not clear, I'm kind of tired of people acting like they can't do things. If you see that the next level you is waiting, that next thing for you to learn is waiting for you to just get over yourself and do it, like do it. That's what's needed. It's a new moment. We thank the past for what it taught us, but we bring forward what we need moving forward. Um, we're constantly changing every day. So, like, I still sign up for business classes. I still sign up for uh, not so much spiritual, right? Oh, actually, yeah, there is a spiritual course starting this month, I believe. Yeah, later on this month. So I still keep up my skills. I still keep up my continuing education in all these areas. Like I'm taking a management course for CEOs and business leaders, so I can better communicate with them, knowing my communication skills. Um, and so they can be coached for continuous improvement. I am taking a course on that, and I'm still learning so much about spirituality. I have, oh, you can't see them, but I have all these books here. I've got one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine books just literally sitting here. I would show you, but it's kind of junky. I just have a lot of stuff over here. Got a lot of oracle cards and a lot of stuff here. Teaching myself the next thing that my clients would need. Yeah, I left the book over there. I leave books all over the place. My husband's probably really annoyed, but I left a book over there about another type of astrology that I'm teaching myself, learning how to do so I can meet the needs of my clients. Because as business owners, we're going to need to know timing. We need to know hiring practices. We need to know who's the best fit. It's a strategy. So see spirituality as a strategy, because we can't just slap on more like, you know, was that consultants that can help us with, what IT system we should use, or what database we should use, or what search committee we should hire. Like, okay, yeah, those things are great. We need all those things, but there's so much more of that spiritual intelligence that you just don't get, that gets cut out, gets left out of those conversations. So, yeah, now is the time for women to really step up. And we talk so much about, or in the spaces that I'm part of, we talk a lot about this, what is it, 125 or 127 trillion dollar um, wealth distribution that's happening now and into the upcoming generations, and why women really need to get their hands in that. So anyone telling you, um, we need to end capitalism. They are your enemy, even if they don't know that. You need to get a piece of the pie. That's how you make change. Um, and I guess I mean it in both ways. But yeah, and one thing I want to say before I go ahead and go is that, on our spiritual journey, I saw something on Instagram where we're talking about, where it was like all the spiritual people were breaking up with their spouses who weren't spiritual. And you know what? I think I might actually leave that for another live stream, maybe. But I'll just touch on it a little bit right now. And because it's getting darker here and the lighting is not so good. But roughly speaking, even not even every spiritual person is going to see things exactly the same as you. So we're living in a world where no one sees everything exactly the same way that we are going to see them, and we're not supposed to. And part of our spiritual journey is dealing with people who aren't on the same spiritual level as us. Because if we keep hiding or wanting to break up with our spouse because they're not growing or whatever, um, I mean, it just depends. I can't make blanket, assumptions about people's relationships. I don't know. But I will say that, that's part of your spiritual journey, is being able to be around people who don't see spirituality exactly the same way as you. And you may not actually be as high vibe as you think you might be. If you can't handle being around people um, who don't see spirituality like you do, who don't know their signs, who don't understand that about the systems and all that stuff. What life, if they've been reincarnated a few times, if they're a master, I forgot what it's called in human design. Like, that's part of your journey. You can't be around high vibe people all the time. You're never going to grow. Um, it is a hot topic. Yeah, exactly. So I think I might talk about that, because and how it has and is transforming my marriage. So I'll leave it at that. Because yeah, in fact, yeah, maybe I'll talk about like spirituality and choosing a partner and going through that whole process. Because like, come on, we imagine someone only hanging around high vibe people, only accepting high vibe people in every area of life. Yeah, if you've got a mentor circle, or your close group of friends, that's okay. I think you should pick your friends, but expecting something like marriage that really stretches us in so many different ways, to expect them to just be on the same path. They may outgrow you. Like, that's just kind of unrealistic. You may actually be low vibe compared to them. So, humility and giving people grace are top tier characteristics. Exactly. And so I give people side eye who claim that they are spiritual and not understand that. Now, of course, you don't want to be taking advantage of yourself by continuously giving grace, um, to those, if you can tell that they're starting to kind of, take advantage of you and things. But that's so important to know that if you can give grace to somebody else, it's because there's also going to be somebody else out there who needs to give grace to you. You want to be a receiver of that grace, that same grace. Yeah, because imagine how stressful you might be to your partner or somebody else if you keep talking in all these spiritual terms. You sound crazy, and you're telling them that they need to catch up. They're like, "No, I'm fine exactly the way I am." You're the one who's talking about all these chakras and seasons of life and uh, retrogrades and stuff like that. That doesn't compute to someone who's grounded on the here and now, what they see right in front of them. Being able to pay the bills and eat food. So, all right, ladies, well, thank you so much for joining this live stream. I'll definitely come back. Let's see, today's Monday, maybe Wednesday or Thursday, I'll be back on live. So yeah, I'm sorry, I still don't know how to schedule the live stream. When I attach it to Zoom, I can schedule it when it's just feeding through the webcam, but I don't like the webcam as much. It picks up too much sound from the outside, and I like Zoom's software a little bit better. So I'm like, I think I'm just going to end up showing up. So maybe Wednesday or Thursday, I'll be back on live. And yeah, so definitely own everything. Own your spirituality, own your business sense. And if you may feel that you're lacking in any of that, then that's what I'm here for. That's what other mentors are here for. Um, a lot of times we have business coaches and we have spiritual coaches. And I mean, I'm not the only one, and I'm not necessarily the best one in the world, but I have a spiritual coach certification. I have a business and entrepreneurship coaching certification, along with my education in university. And then it's my lived experience too. Got your notifications on? Great. Thank you so much. So thanks for being patient with me, just popping up here and there. But all right, ladies, have a good evening. I am really hungry right now. I think my husband is fixing something like Italian sausages or something tonight. So I'm like drooling at the mouth. I can barely say the word. All right. Have a good evening, and I'll